Can you hear my tool on the floor? I have to put it back in. Fast sliding. Okay, now I'm just checking lists. Excuse me while I look at my laptop to check in. Okay, the linear measurement for you this week, one of the first tasks is to look at some small vocabulary picture cards that look very much like this. I think the set doesn't have the words on it, but I wanted to review the important ones. Taking a look at that, you can print those and cut them out and use those and keep those around as you learn the word at the top and the picture at the bottom to help you make that vocabulary yours. Or you can leave it on your computer and then just look at it. The measurements we'll have this week are inch. 12 inches equals 1 foot. This, on this part here, where you can see, that's 1 inch. This is the measurement system that we use in the United States. Much of the rest of the world doesn't use that, but we use that one. Inch. Foot. 1 foot equals 12 inches. This is called a foot. 1 inch up to 12. And you'll hear people talk about the size of a room might be 8 feet by 12 feet. It means 8 of these by 12 of these. Or people might talk about how tall a plant is growing in the backyard, or you might be measured in your doorway or somewhere else, and people will talk about how many inches tall you are, or how many feet tall you are. Yard, we talked about that. That was this measuring tool. 1 yard equals 36 inches or 3 feet. I could put my ruler here 3 times and I can see it's by the 12, and then I can move it ahead and I'll see it's right by 24, and then I can put it one more time. 3 feet, or as the number will show you, 36 inches. That's yard. Those are the measurements we'll be using, but some other words for you to know, and you probably have heard, is the word mile. Grown-ups talk about this a lot, especially around driving and distances away from where we are or where you are at the minute, or how far your family members might live. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. That's a math word for you to know. In most of the rest of the world, they use the metric system, and people will talk about a meter, which is close to this size with a little bit more. The meter is a metric unit for measuring length or distance. A meter equals about this plus 3 inches more. That would be 1 meter. We won't be using that, but it's a word that you should know. Okay, that's the first day, is becoming familiar with those measurement terms or measurement words. Look at the pictures, again, cut them out, look at them on your computer screen, but get to know and recognize those words because we'll be using them for the next many days. Then I have a PowerPoint where you'll be clicking on and looking at. These are called standard measurement. People know what this means. They know what a meter is, they know what a foot is, an inch, and a yard. Sometimes for extra practice, you will use non-standard measurements. And the task for, that's for tomorrow. The second part, let me see. Yes, here we go. The next part for day 1 is taking a look at this paper. It's looking at short to long. You have 2 ways you can use this paper. There's a total of, I think, 5 of them. There's worms and feathers and crayons and caterpillars and spoons. The 2 different ways you can use this task is to take a look and write the number in the box in the order it goes from shorter to long. So right here, there's a number 1 in the box next to the shortest worm. Then find the next size worm, which would mean it's moving taller because it's short to long, and then put a number 2 in that box. and then 3, 4, 5, 6. Now as extra learning, something you can do is use your ruler to put it right next to and then see how tall, or sorry, how short or how long that worm is, and then write that down. Another job you can do is to cut them out and glue them on another piece of paper from short to long. Can you see which one is the long one? That would be at the end. And which one is the short one, where we see the number there already. So 3 different ways of doing the job. I think the cutting out, you could do another one. You could do the cut out and arrange them, and then still measure them for extra practice. And you do that for each of the pages. For the worm, the feather, the crayon, the caterpillar, and the spoon ones. Okay. That's for the first day. Yes, okay. On day 2 is the PowerPoint. And the PowerPoint uses non-standard measurement. What it's using is small cubes, and you look at the PowerPoint to see the object, the rectangles, and then figure out how many cubes long it is. It's not inches, but it would be, do you think, you take a guess first, does this rectangle look like it's 5 cubes long? Or 7 cubes long? And then as you click the screen each time, it will show you how to measure them using non-standard units of measure. Like you'll be using paper clips to measure things later in the week. Okay, on day 3, you'll have this paper, and there are several pages there. This is a follow-up to the PowerPoint, like here. This is showing you a rectangle, and then you count how many cubes long it is. And then you can write that number next to each of the rectangles, and then you decide which one is the longer one and circle the one. Circle the rectangle and the cubes that is longer and circle it after you count them. You can also do something interesting like coloring the cubes in and making a color pattern if you wanted to. You could write, although it's a very small space, you could write your pencil number of how many cubes that is, so you can remember what you counted to. There are several pages of this. And then, of course, one more thing is you could practice. Should I show it? Yeah, okay. You could practice by putting your ruler right next to it. You know, rulers always go right at the beginning. You don't put it that way, because that would be an incorrect measurement. You put your ruler right at the beginning of an object, and then you see, okay, this is almost 3 inches long. That's your job for Wednesday. For Thursday, there's a document that has pages like this, pages with rectangles on them. After the page, there's a page like this, using, again, kind of cubes. And what these you can do is 2 different ways. You can cut out one, and then use that 1 cube, and keep moving it until you see how long, how many cubes this is, and write the number over here. Or you can cut out a bunch of them and then glue them right above or right on top of the rectangle. And then you can see the count and write the number there. As always, you can then take your ruler and measure this. Let's do the first one together. If I put my ruler here as an extra measurement, I can see if I put my ruler at the beginning and come to the end, it is number 4. So this is 4 inches long. So I could measure both by cubes and by inches. Non-standard and standard. There are several pages like that in the packet to use. Check my screen here to be sure I'm on target. Okay, and so that is that page. On the last day of the week, there's 2 jobs. The middle line, I wouldn't make lines like this on your ruler unless you're given permission to do so. I did this because these are school tools. But there's a very long line. I'll show it on this. Right in between 20 and 21, there are many lines. The longest one is the 1/2 inch. There's 2 pages like this in here, and it's showing different objects, paperclip, pencil, nail, screw, with a ruler, a real paper ruler right underneath. And it's helping you to see those objects are not even, they're not measured evenly as 10 inches or 7 inches. Each one is a 1/2. So like this first one, if we take a look, it measures between 1 and 2. So that means it is 1 and 1.5 inches. And then you can write that right there. And someone, if you know how to make fractions, like 1/2, you can write that. If not, it's a 1 with a line and a 2 underneath, but someone can show you that. And then the last job is this page. You write your name on it. You can cut it out and make a book, or you can leave your paper intact. And with this, take your ruler, be sure it's safe places, and then go around your house and find something. Like I have some glass windows in my inside doors here. I could draw a picture of that window and then measure it. I could go and look at the vase of flowers over there. Very careful. I could draw a picture of the vase and the flowers and then measure the vase or the flowers or the whole thing. You could measure a people, like your parent or your pet dog Sparky or your pet cat Barfy, or brothers or sisters or books. You make the choice. There's 4 spots to do that over the weekend, or you can make a couple of copies and do that and have them. I printed them on 2 sides so I could do extra. That's our assignments for the week. You can come back to this video anytime during the week to remember and refresh what we talked about. Enjoy your measuring, and I will see you next time. Weigh and measure, oh what fun, oh what fun, oh what fun. Weigh and measure, oh what fun. Weigh and measure.